Has published an autobiography, Call Me Ted. I've been to see him. Call him what you like. I'd suggest a few names, but apparently he doesn't like news presenters expressing their own opinion. The wealthily born young Ted was forced to earn his way at university after his father stopped paying his fees in disgust over a decision to study classics. In a letter at the time, his father wrote, "I almost puked on the way home today. With whom will you communicate in Greek?" Founding CNN brought him international recognition for introducing 24-hour news in English to the world. With success came new friends of many persuasions. But his sale of Time Warner years later would blow a reported $7 billion hole in his pockets after an unprecedented merger with AOL just before the internet bubble burst. He wasn't left entirely poor, donating $1 billion to the UN, and his sacking left him with plenty of time to tour his ranches, which cover an area the size of 2 states. His autobiography ends with 70 years distilled into an 11-point environmental plan which his own Captain Planet would be proud of. But some of his principles, even for him, may seem easier said than done. Earlier, I met Ted Turner at the Dorchester and asked him what he thought about bailouts of banks and car manufacturers.
I hate to see a subsidized failure, which is what we're doing. You know, if we were going to subsidize anything, it would be nice to subsidize success, because the companies that are being bailed out are ones that have failed. And but on the other hand, they're so big, you know, like the banks and so forth, that they say they're too big to fail. We can't let them fail. But I mean, the whole thing is an unfortunate situation that it's occurred, being that, you know, that we've got all this difficult time.
But the governments are right, aren't they? There is no alternative to bailing out these banks.
I don't know. We'll never know, because we went ahead. You know, I wasn't here in 1929. I've never seen a bank close. You know, not while I was in line waiting to get my deposits. I hadn't seen that. So I really don't know. Is there anything wrong with saying you don't know? If you don't know, you know.
No, you're not a politician. It's only politicians who say that.
You know, I work at the United Nations on trying to make things better in the world. I really don't know enough about economics to know whether what we're doing is right or not.
Do you have an anxiety? I mean, left-wingers say that all this was predicted by Karl Marx, and what we're actually seeing is the end of Western capitalism, a particular kind of capitalism that in the end became completely unviable. Do you recognize that picture?
I don't think that's really so. I mean, China's having trouble with their economy too, and they're communists.
Yeah, but they've
got a capitalist system.
Exactly. Then they're suffering collateral damage.
Well, we had state ownership of everything in the Soviet Union, and it was a catastrophe. It was a bigger failure, certainly, than capitalism has been. But definitely, when this is over, we're going to have a different economic system than we do now, because a lot of the banks, or some of the banks, are going to be owned by the government, and that's going to change things.
What lesson do you draw from it?
Well, one thing that is, in the United States particularly, because I'm more familiar there, we had been borrowing more money than we were making. And we've been doing that for a number of years. And that doesn't work forever. I mean, you can borrow more than you make for a while, but eventually it catches up with you, and then you have to pay. You know, and then the time has come to pay.
I wonder, from the perspective of somebody who set up CNN, the first really successful 24-hour news operation,
and the first international network.
Indeed. Whether you think that there's some sense in which that whole speed of the news cycle has actually made things worse.
No. More and better information, more quickly received, has got to be overall a plus.
There may be more of it. It's not necessarily better, though, is it?
Well,
it's just
I think CNN was pretty good when I was running it, and so did everybody else that saw it, because we were allowed to come in everywhere in the world, and it was there was a lot of opposition to a global network when we started, particularly one from the United States, because people were afraid of cultural imperialism.
You don't buy the argument that if you if the news cycle goes around so fast that there's this voracious machine eating facts and spewing them out again, that it's inimical to good government.
Less information would be better, more slowly delivered. We have newspapers.
Well, more considered responses to things.
Well, that's true, but you have some time to think about things. Usually you can think about them over the weekend.
And what do you make of the accusation that what CNN eventually did, I mean, you set out with pretty high-minded ambitions, according to your book, very high-minded ambitions.
Right, I did.
You believed in unvarnished truth, unsullied sources of information,
yes,
and the like. And actually all CNN has done is make the world safe for Rupert Murdoch and Fox News.
I don't know. I hope that's not the case.
But that's what it looks like.
Well, Rupert hasn't taken over yet, and he's running out of time.
Isn't it also increasingly the case that comment is driving out fact?
Well, that's a possibility, but if you don't like a discussion program, the talking heads, you can flip channels and go to somebody that does have hard news on.
Sure, but they're all controlled by the same people.
Well, similar people, but not completely. It's better than nothing, I think.
I mean, you really think CNN made the world a better place?
I think it helped make it easier for the Cold War to come to an end.
You don't honestly believe you can rid the world of nuclear weapons, do you?
Absolutely. I'm certain that we can.
Well, why are you going to succeed when statesmen for generations...
Well, it's not just me. There's a lot of people that want to get rid of them.
How are you going to do it?
All the intelligent people want to get rid of them.
How are you going to do it?
Only the dummies want to keep them. They're no good for anything. Who wants to blow up London?
Well,
blow the whole place up. Well, one of these bombs, they're 50 times more powerful than the one we dropped on Hiroshima. You know, it would be goodbye London, goodbye Paris, goodbye Moscow, goodbye New York, goodbye humanity.
Okay, Turner, thanks very much.